Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm helping you level up your communication skills. And on this episode, I'm going to be talking about how to exercise your willpower. One of the best definitions regarding willpower I've ever heard in my life went like this. Willpower is the ability to hold onto one idea at the exclusion of other ideas. I love this definition because it works perfectly in terms of a micro sense and a macro sense. What's an example of willpower in a micro sense? Well, let's say you set 30 minutes to clean your room, and that's going to be your only focus. That's an example of showcasing willpower on a small scale. What about macro sense? How do you showcase willpower there? It could be something grand, like having a life vision and just holding on to that. Or it could just be trying to get a promotion at work for this year. It doesn't matter how annoying your coworker to your right is, how mean your manager is, how annoying your team is. You're still going to find a way to get that promotion because you have the willpower to hold on to this idea. So if you're breaking it down, if you're starting to understand, willpower comes down to one, less, simple. So if it's supposed to be so simple, why is it so complex? Why is it so difficult? Because in the external world out there, less simple seems easy. But in the internal world of the mind and emotions, simple is the most difficult thing that you can possibly do. Just try it out for yourself. Find a time when you sit down on a chair, you close your eyes, and you just observe. What are you going to notice? You're going to notice a whole bunch of thoughts and a whole bunch of emotions. This goes on to show that at a baseline state, the mind and emotions are wired for complexity. And in order to get that simplicity for that willpower, it needs to be exercised multiple times. The awareness needs to become stronger than the mind and emotions. And that's the thing. That's all maturity truly comes down to. That's all willpower comes down to. That's what all emotional regulation, mental toughness, all that comes down to. Enhancing your awareness. The thing with willpower and enhancing the awareness is that it's not a sexy process. It's not pretty. Exercising your willpower looks boring from the outside. It looks boring from the inside. So where do you find the motivation to continue to keep pushing forward? The way that you find the motivation is that by strengthening the willpower, making it stronger and stronger and stronger, by going through the boring reps, you strangely start to have more fun. The people who have found a way to make boring tasks fun are truly unstoppable because they are someone who have understood how to exercise that willpower. I want to give you an example of what not to do. There was a few years ago where Shaquille O'Neal started a gym right by my house back in West Palm Beach. It's called 24-Hour Fitness Shack. I loved it because my brother and I, we could go to the gym and work out at like 3 at night, and it was open. So my brother and I would start a routine of going to the gym at 3 a.m. And when we went, there was one guy in the front who would let us in. He was this swole big dude named Danny. He was this Asian guy with a very soft voice. His voice didn't suit his body. So that was one guy. And once we got into the actual gym, there was another guy named Wilson. As we would work out at 3 in the morning, we would notice Wilson always doing some ridiculous looking workouts. He was lifting one leg, doing a bicep curl with the other leg. He was getting a jump rope and like swinging it in all different ways. He was doing a lot of jumping, doing a lot of moving. And Wilson, overall, just seemed like a ridiculous individual. He acted like a monkey. Well, as some weeks went on by, Wilson, my brother, and I, we formed a friendship. I mean, what else can you imagine? We're the only people in the gym. Once we started to form this friendship, I started to wonder, yo, Wilson, why are your workouts all over the place? And when my brother and I would ask him a question like that, he would start giving us a little lecture. He would be like, this is how you're supposed to work out. This showcases that I'm putting in a whole lot of work. You guys could learn from me. And he starts giving us this lecture, trying to become our fitness trainer. Well, as more time goes on by, one day, Danny, the Asian guy in the front, starts to chill with me, my brother, and Wilson. And that's when Wilson asks Danny, you've known me for a while. You've seen my work ethic. You've seen how many reps I put into the gym. Tell me, how different does my body look? Danny starts to look at Wilson up and down. In a soft voice, he's like, you look the exact same to me. And then he starts to look at me and my brother, and he's like, but these two are getting bigger. You know, Wilson, you could learn something from these two. And that's when me and my brother, we started busting out laughing. Danny joins us in on the laughter. But Wilson didn't find this funny. Wilson was insulted. I mean, here he is putting in all these complex workouts, acting like a monkey, acting like a circus clown, and such little to show for it. Wilson, his mindset is the mindset that a lot of us have when approaching willpower. We try to do a little too much, and that's why we stop in the very beginning stages. In order to exercise willpower, here's the easiest formula that you can do. Find one task that you're going to do at the same time every single day, no questions asked. This is the easiest way to build willpower on a microscopic lens, which surprisingly translates on a macroscopic sense. An example, let's say every single morning when you wake up, you brush your teeth. Armani, can I use that as my act? No, because if you're like most people, this is a subconscious act for you. We need to pick something that's going to require conscious effort. So this is the perfect time to pick up a brand new habit. I don't care if you do it 11 in the morning, 11 at night. The key, this is the moneymaker, is to do it at the same exact time every single day. Why does this work? It works because you're killing two birds with one stone. I said earlier in this video that the mind, the emotions, love chaos, love complexity. And here you are doing something the exact opposite. One act, and at the same time, another one act. This strangely confuses the mind and the emotions, but it doesn't shock it. You're not doing too much. You don't want to override the mind and the emotions with 50 new tasks at the same time. Just one task at the same time every single day, and this gradually brings the mind and the emotions to your side, day by day by day. And let's say you can't even do it on a day-by-day basis. Well, you could find one activity that you do at the same time every week. One example that I can give you is when I was first starting Toastmasters, I knew that Tuesday at 7 p.m., I was going to be in a Toastmasters meeting. And by programming myself on a weekly basis, not daily, but weekly basis, with that same activity of going to the Toastmasters meeting, slowly I started to become more disciplined in other elements of my life. I started to go to the gym more routinely. I started to participate in the speeches, and I wouldn't be one of those speakers who would drop out last minute. On a weekly basis, to exercise willpower, sign me up. Like I said earlier, the best definition of willpower out there is the ability to hold onto one idea at the exclusion of other ideas. This could happen in a burst of 30 minutes. It could happen in the burst of 3 hours, 3 years, doesn't matter. The same concept holds true in all cases. 1. the enemy of the mind and the emotions, but just gradually introduce the one. The mind and the emotions won't like it at first, but slowly it's going to start to understand that this is how willpower is born. This is how consistency, discipline is born. It's through the awareness serving as a mastermind to programming the mind and the emotions to a brand new way of life. All great communicators, all people who are great at what they do, don't sacrifice the willpower. You can't ever buy willpower. It's something that is earned. And as I stated earlier, it's something that seems boring, but the more you stick with it, the more it becomes your peace. The more it allows you to have fun in other activities, and the more it allows you to stay present. Gradually introduce that one to the chaos and learn to gradually win your mind and emotions over. Thank you for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you on the next episode.